Your mind is under siege. Toxic thoughts infiltrate your focus, steal your energy, and paralyze your decisions. But in the next few minutes, I will show you how to eradicate them completely and reclaim mental clarity like a true strategist. I am Niccolò Machiavelli, not to comfort you, but to reveal the unvarnished truth. Your mind is a battlefield. Those thoughts you entertain are not just harmless musings. They are spies, saboteurs, and traitors within your own psyche. You must understand this immediately. Your mind is not a passive space where thoughts come and go like idle visitors. Your mind is a battlefield, and every toxic thought is an invader, a spy sent to weaken your command from within. If you do not recognize these intrusions, if you do not isolate them and neutralize them, they will accumulate like a hidden army, and one day they will strike with devastating efficiency. The mental bastion is your first and most essential strategy for taking control of your own cognition. It is about constructing an impenetrable fortress inside your head, one that allows only strategic, useful, and intentional thoughts to survive. Start by identifying the recurring thoughts that gnaw at you. These are not random, they are systematic attacks. Perhaps it is the nagging doubt that you are not good enough, the silent judgment of past failures, or the insidious anxiety about what others think of you. These thoughts are like scouts, probing your defenses, mapping weaknesses. A strategist never ignores the enemy's reconnaissance. You must confront each of these thoughts deliberately, study them, and understand the purpose they serve. Ask yourself, is this thought useful? Does it advance my objectives? If the answer is no, it is not a thought to be entertained. It is an intruder, and it must be contained. Isolation is the next step. In the battlefield of the mind, containment is as important as elimination. When a toxic thought appears, do not indulge it, do not entertain it, and do not allow it to spread unchecked. Visualize it confined in a small, dark chamber in your mind. Observe it from a distance. Analyze its form, its triggers, and its patterns. When you observe without attachment, you gain mastery. You become the commander, and the thought becomes the prisoner. The more precisely you contain and study these toxic patterns, the stronger your mental fortress becomes. Each observation, each act of detachment, is a brick added to the walls of your bastion. But identifying and isolating is not enough. The mental bastion demands active maintenance. You must train your mind to recognize these intruders the instant they appear. Toxic thoughts often arrive stealthily, disguised as reminders, as fleeting images, as subtle emotions. They are masters of camouflage. You must become a master of detection. When one appears, name it, call it out, acknowledge its presence without fear or judgment, and then decide its fate. The power of acknowledgement is often underestimated. Recognition is the first step toward dominance. When you name a toxic thought, you reduce its influence, you strip it of the element of surprise, and you reclaim control over the narrative inside your head. Next comes the neutralization phase. Here, you must deploy a strategic antidote, a countermeasure tailored to that specific mental invader. If the thought is doubt, counter it with evidence of past victories and proof of capability. If the thought is fear, counter it with rational analysis, breaking down the threat into manageable pieces. Every toxic thought has a weakness, a crack in its armor. It is your duty to discover it and exploit it. A general does not attack blindly. Every maneuver must be precise, calculated, and efficient. The stronger your countermeasures, the less power these toxic thoughts have over you. Finally, repetition and discipline are crucial. The mental bastion is not built overnight, nor is it maintained without vigilance. Each day, you must patrol the walls of your mind, inspect every corner for infiltration, and reinforce your defenses. This is not a practice for the faint-hearted or for those seeking comfort. It is the work of a strategist, a ruler of their own inner empire. Toxic thoughts will always try to return. Your task is to meet them at the gate, every time, and remind them who commands this territory. The mind does not operate in isolation. It is constantly influenced by what you see, what you hear, and what you consume. If you allow toxins into your environment, they will seep into your thoughts, corroding your clarity and sabotaging your focus. This is where the shadow audit becomes indispensable. A shadow audit is the ruthless, unflinching examination of every influence in your life, every input that touches your mind, and every whisper that you allow to shape your perception. It is the process of identifying the silent saboteurs before they strike, of scrutinizing the seemingly harmless patterns that are, in reality, undermining your mental sovereignty. Start by observing your daily environment with the cold eye of a strategist. What do you read? What do you watch? What do you listen to? Every book, every video, every conversation is a potential agent of distraction or distortion. Many allow themselves to absorb content without question, claiming that it is harmless, that it is just entertainment. But in the mind of a Machiavellian, nothing is innocent. Subtle negativity, gossip, sensationalism, and fear-driven narratives are all tools designed to weaken the individual. When you consume these, you are not merely observing, you are allowing foreign forces to infiltrate your mental stronghold. Next, evaluate your social environment. Who do you allow into your inner circle? Every person you interact with leaves a residue on your mind. Some bring insight and strategy, others bring chaos and weakness. Toxicity in others is like poison in a shared water supply. You may not notice it at first, but it accumulates and eventually saps your energy. Identify the habitual critics, the envious colleagues, the naysayers who speak with disguised malice. They may not attack openly, but their influence is insidious. A true strategist isolates these elements, minimizes exposure, and, where possible, cuts them out entirely. Social discretion is as vital as mental discipline. The shadow audit also demands reflection on your own speech and thought patterns. Self-dialogue is a battlefield where much damage occurs unnoticed. Negative self-talk, habitual worry, and repetitive guilt act as internal informants, feeding power to toxic thoughts. Monitor your language. Identify phrases that reinforce fear or self-doubt. Replace them with precision-crafted statements that align with your strategic goals. This is not positive thinking, it is calculated self-command. It is taking control of your narrative before it is hijacked by chaos. Finally, take decisive action. The shadow audit is not merely observation, it is purification. Remove the toxic content, disengage from harmful interactions, and recalibrate your daily inputs to serve your objectives. Every book you read, every conversation you participate in, every news item you allow into your consciousness should either fortify your strategy or be discarded. The mind is a machine of unparalleled potential, but it can only operate at full efficiency when the gears are free from sludge. The shadow audit requires vigilance and discipline, for even the slightest lapse invites contamination. It is not a one-time exercise, but a continuous process of surveillance and curation. You are a general inspecting the ranks of your army, ensuring no traitor slips in unnoticed. Every sound, every image, every word has the potential to become a soldier or a saboteur. Allowing toxic influence to persist is tantamount to surrender, a subtle but deadly concession of control over your mental empire. The mind, like any battlefield, accumulates debris. Thoughts, both useful and harmful, pile up, creating chaos and confusion. If you do not regularly cleanse your mental terrain, these accumulated intrusions will dominate your decisions, cloud your judgment, and weaken your resolve. The thought purge is the deliberate, systematic process of identifying, confronting, and neutralizing these internal adversaries before they seize control. This is not optional. It is a necessity for anyone who seeks mastery over their own mind. Begin by acknowledging that your thoughts are not innocent bystanders. They are agents, and some are saboteurs. Fear, doubt, resentment, and regret are not merely feelings. They are tools of distraction designed to immobilize you at critical moments. A Machiavellian strategist does not tolerate such interference. Every intrusive thought must be confronted, examined, and either harnessed or destroyed. The thought purge is the surgical intervention your mind requires to maintain clarity and efficiency. Establish a ritual for the purge. The disciplined mind operates on structure. Choose a fixed time each day to engage in this practice. Some may call it meditation, some may call it journaling, but the mechanism is irrelevant. The key is consistency. During this period, you must confront your thoughts directly. Bring them into focus. Observe their patterns, their triggers, and their consequences. Do not shy away from uncomfortable truths. The strength of a strategist lies not in avoiding pain, but in facing it with precision and control. As you identify these toxic patterns, analyze them with ruthless clarity. Ask yourself why this thought has power over you. Is it a memory clinging to unresolved emotion? Is it fear masquerading as caution? Is it envy disguised as ambition? The more precisely you dissect each thought, the less power it retains. The thought purge is not passive. It requires you to dismantle the structures that give these intrusions strength, identify their vulnerabilities, isolate their influence, and prepare your mental countermeasures. Next, implement the strategic discard. This is the critical step where observation becomes action. Once you have confronted and analyzed a toxic thought, decide its fate. You may write it down and confront it on paper, verbally acknowledge it, or mentally neutralize it through deliberate reframing. Each method serves the same goal, removing its grip on your mind. When you discard a thought strategically, you are not suppressing it, you are reclaiming control, turning what was once a potential threat into a neutralized element of your mental environment. Repetition is your ally. The thought purge is not a single act, it is a daily commitment. Intrusive thoughts will return. They are relentless. But with each purge, your ability to recognize, confront, and neutralize them strengthens. You develop an instinct for detection, a rapid response system that prevents toxic ideas from gaining a foothold. Over time, the mind becomes disciplined, orderly, and fortified. The chaos that once lurked in shadows retreats under the relentless enforcement of strategic vigilance. The thought purge demands patience, precision, and resolve. It is uncomfortable because it exposes weaknesses you have long ignored. It is laborious because the mind is resistant to scrutiny. But mastery of thought is mastery of action, and mastery of action is mastery of life. Without this process, all focus, all strategic planning, all ambition is vulnerable. A cluttered mind is a conquered mind, and the thought purge is the weapon that restores sovereignty, turning mental chaos into controlled power. Every reaction you make is either an act of mastery or a surrender to chaos. The human mind is conditioned to respond impulsively, to strike at perceived threats or grasp fleeting opportunities without calculation. This instinct is the breeding ground of error, distraction, and regret. The strategic pause is the weapon that allows you to break free from this automatic subjugation. It is the deliberate interval between stimulus and response, a moment where you reclaim command over your own mental territory and determine your next move with precision. Begin by recognizing the moments when the mind is most vulnerable. Stress, provocation, fear, and anger are the catalysts for impulsive reaction. In these moments, your natural tendency is to react immediately, to speak, to act, to let your emotions dictate your decisions. This is the very behavior that allows toxic thoughts and external influences to dominate your actions. A strategist understands that true power is exercised not in haste, but in calculation. The strategic pause is your opportunity to convert instinct into intelligence. During the pause, detach from the immediate surge of emotion. Observe it clinically. What is the trigger? What is the consequence if you act now? What benefit can be gained by delaying action and analyzing the situation? These questions are not theoretical. They are the tactical commands of a commander surveying a battlefield. The longer and more accurately you observe without succumbing to reaction, the more control you reclaim over the unfolding scenario. Every moment of restraint is a victory over impulsive chaos. The pause also allows for the assessment of strategic options. Most people act with limited awareness, responding to what they perceive as urgent without considering the broader ramifications. The strategic pause gives you the advantage of perspective. You can weigh outcomes, anticipate responses, and deploy the most effective strategy. By creating this interval, you separate immediate discomfort from long-term consequence, a distinction most individuals fail to grasp. This is why the pause is not merely defensive, it is offensive. It transforms hesitation into precision-guided action. Next, consider the neurological effect of the pause. The brain cannot sustain prolonged high-intensity stress without entering fight or flight mode, which clouds judgment. By deliberately pausing, you reduce the chemical surge of fear and adrenaline, clearing the mental fog that allows distraction and toxic thought to gain influence. The strategic pause is both a physiological and psychological tool. It restores clarity, allowing rational thought to reassert dominance over emotion-driven chaos. The mind, freed from reactive pressure, becomes a calculating machine, capable of identifying and neutralizing threats with surgical accuracy. Furthermore, the strategic pause establishes a habit of conscious control. Each time you resist the urge to react immediately, you reinforce the neural pathways that favor deliberation over impulsivity. Over time, this habitual pause becomes instinctive. Your mind automatically inserts a strategic interval before every significant decision, preventing toxic thoughts from hijacking your judgment and ensuring that your actions are aligned with your highest objectives. You are not merely controlling thoughts in isolation, you are recalibrating the entire mechanism of decision-making to favor mastery over distraction. The power of the strategic pause lies in its subtlety. It is invisible to the casual observer but devastatingly effective. While others are enslaved by emotional contagion, manipulated by minor irritations, and consumed by transient anxiety, you stand apart, analyzing, calculating, and preparing your next move. Every pause transforms reaction into strategy, weakness into strength, and mental chaos into disciplined order. A mind without defense is a mind doomed to surrender. Every day, toxic thoughts, doubts, fears, and distractions wage invisible war against your clarity. To survive and to dominate, you must not only recognize these threats but equip yourself with weapons capable of neutralizing them the moment they arise. This is the essence of the cognitive armory. It is the deliberate construction of mental defenses, the careful deployment of counter-thoughts, and the strategic reinforcement of intellectual and emotional resilience. Without it, your mind is exposed, and every stray influence becomes a potential enemy. The first principle of the cognitive armory is anticipation. Just as a commander prepares for enemy tactics, you must predict the mental assaults that will appear throughout your day. Consider the patterns of your own mind. What triggers insecurity? What thoughts recur with toxic regularity? What fears sneak in when focus is required? Identifying these patterns allows you to prepare preemptive countermeasures. This is not optimism, it is calculation. It is not comfort, it is control. You arm yourself not because threats are distant, but because they are inevitable. Next, equip your mind with counterthoughts, precisely formulated statements that neutralize the power of intrusive ideas. If doubt arises, summon evidence of your past victories and concrete proof of capability. If fear attacks, deconstruct it with rational analysis and actionable steps. If envy or resentment surfaces, redirect focus toward your own goals and the advantages of your position. Each counterthought is a weapon, a defensive mechanism that can immediately diminish the impact of toxic intrusion. The more precise and premeditated these countermeasures, the stronger your defenses become. The cognitive armory also includes the practice of reframing. Every negative thought carries the potential for destruction or for insight, depending on how it is handled. A Machiavellian strategist turns even apparent disadvantages into advantages. When a toxic thought presents itself, ask not only how to eliminate it, but how to extract information or strategic insight from it. What does it reveal about your vulnerabilities? What patterns does it expose? By reframing the attack as intelligence, you transform mental weakness into a source of strength. Discipline is the next pillar. Weapons, no matter how sophisticated, are useless if not wielded consistently. The cognitive armory is not a one-time construction. It is maintained through rigorous daily practice. Whenever a disruptive thought arises, immediately deploy the appropriate countermeasure. Mentally rehearse these strategies until the response becomes instinctive. Over time, the mind develops an automatic defense network, capable of intercepting and neutralizing threats before they can inflict damage. This habitual vigilance ensures that your clarity is never compromised, even under pressure. Finally, the cognitive armory extends beyond the internal battle. The thoughts you allow to enter your mind, the information you consume, and the interactions you engage in all contribute to the strength or weakness of your mental arsenal. Curate inputs carefully. Every book, every conversation, every observation should serve to sharpen your weapons, reinforce your defenses, and extend your reach. This is strategic intelligence applied to the battlefield of the mind. Your mental weapons are not only reactive, they are proactive, continuously strengthening your capacity to focus, calculate, and dominate. The essence of the cognitive armory is ruthless preparation. While others allow negativity to spread unchecked, you are armed, disciplined, and ready. Each toxic thought that arises meets a premeditated counter. Each distraction is intercepted and neutralized. You do not wait to react. You dominate the battlefield before the enemy strikes. The cognitive armory transforms vulnerability into strength, confusion into precision, and mental chaos into disciplined strategic control. Focus is not a passive state. It is not simply paying attention or resisting distraction. True focus is an act of sovereignty. It is the deliberate concentration of all mental resources on a single objective, to the exclusion of every rival impulse. The mind that scatters itself across countless trivialities is a mind conquered by chaos. The sovereign focus is the discipline that transforms thought into action, potential into power, and intention into achievement. It is the final and most critical key in reclaiming mastery over your mental domain. Begin by identifying your central objective for the day. This is not a vague aspiration or an abstract goal. It is a precise, measurable target that demands your complete attention. A strategist never disperses energy on inconsequential pursuits while the primary mission is at stake. Likewise, your mind must treat every thought that does not serve this objective as a potential threat. These distractions are not neutral, they are usurpers, attempting to dilute your mental authority and divert your resources to the trivial, the petty, and the irrelevant. Once the objective is defined, ruthlessly organize your mental and physical environment to support it. Remove all stimuli that might fracture attention. Silence notifications, distance yourself from interruptions, and eliminate any sources of indecision. The human mind is easily seduced by novelty, convenience, and emotional triggers. The sovereign focus requires that you anticipate these temptations and neutralize them before they can influence you. Every external disturbance left unchecked is a potential rebellion against your cognitive sovereignty. Next, structure your inner dialogue as a tool for enforcement. Thoughts that do not serve your central mission must be recognized, confronted, and dismissed. This is not suppression, but strategic elimination. Every time a toxic or irrelevant thought arises, acknowledge it briefly, assess its utility, and discard it decisively. Over time, this practice conditions the mind to automatically prioritize strategic input, creating a feedback loop where focus strengthens itself with every engagement. The more disciplined your internal command, the less energy is wasted, and the more power is devoted to what truly matters. The sovereign focus also demands a relentless assessment of progress. A commander never allows troops to move blindly. He monitors, recalibrates, and adjusts. Similarly, you must continuously evaluate whether your attention remains aligned with your primary objective. If a distraction has infiltrated, or if mental energy drifts, it must be corrected immediately. Precision in attention is as important as precision in action. Even a brief lapse allows chaos to spread and reduces your overall capacity for strategic thought. Furthermore, this level of focus creates a feedback loop of dominance. As your mind becomes trained to concentrate without compromise, the clarity you achieve amplifies your strategic capabilities. Decisions are sharper, creativity is enhanced, and insight emerges where previously there was only noise. Each moment of undivided attention reinforces your mental sovereignty, increasing the efficiency of thought and the decisiveness of action. The longer and more consistently you maintain this state, the more it becomes a default operating mode, a permanent regime of command over your own cognition. Finally, understand that the sovereign focus is not comfortable. It requires vigilance, self-discipline, and the ability to confront discomfort without retreat. It is the deliberate suppression of impulse in favor of long-term gain. Yet it is also the ultimate source of power, for the focused mind is invulnerable to distraction, unshakable in decision, and capable of executing plans with the precision of a master strategist. It is the culmination of every previous keynote, the point at which mental clarity becomes unassailable and every toxic thought is relegated to irrelevance. Remember, the mental bastion, the shadow audit, the thought purge, the strategic pause, the cognitive armory, the sovereign focus. 6 ruthless strategies to seize dominion over your own mind. Claim your sovereignty. Do not entertain thoughts that weaken your will. Your mind is your empire. Rule it mercilessly.